Hey man, good to be here. How you doing?
Pretty good, pretty good. Let me grab another one of these. Another one of these stupid baby waters. That's all I have next to me. I forgot to get drinks out of the fridge, and I have these. I have these stupid baby waters stacked up in my, and I can't reach like the full size water. I
Mhm.
can't. I can reach though. I can reach one of my famous food buckets here from My Patriot Supply, but I can't reach the full size water. So I'm drinking these baby waters, and I'm like finishing him super quickly. But what's on your mind, man? What's going on?
I just wanted to add another piece of news that came out today.
Yeah.
Um, so there's a Democratic firm predicts like a red mirage for the November election and whatnot, and so potentially Trump will win the landslide on election day, but a week later he could lose as like the mail-in ballots are counted.
Yeah, it said Trump may appear to win in landslide. I remember I'm like seeing the headline in my head right now. I'll go to it right now. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
This is from the Sun. Trump mirage. Donald Trump will appear to have won in a landslide on election night, but Biden will get huge win from mail-in ballots. Very interesting. Very interesting. It seems like they're setting up the setting it all up for us here. It says hawkish
Yep.
CEO John Mendelsohn told Axios that votes coming in on November 3rd could very well show that Donald Trump won re-election, but described it as a red mirage. We are sounding an alarm and saying that this is a very real possibility that the data is going to show on election night an incredible victory for Donald Trump, Mendelsohn said. When every legitimate vote is tallied, and we get to that final day, which will be someday after Election Day, it in fact will show what happened on election night was exactly that, a mirage. It looked like Donald Trump won, was in the lead, and he fundamentally was not when every ballot gets counted. So they're trying to set this up here. What on that did you want to add to the conversation there?
I just wanted you to like mention it because I've been watching the stream since the beginning. And the other thing I wanted to mention too, John Podesta did something kind of similar to this a couple weeks ago, and that wasn't really talked about. Um, he even had like a what is it, scenario about what would happen in the November election.
I don't know about that one. November election simulation. Let me see. John Podesta.
Mhm.
This is on August 6th. It says experts held war games on the Trump versus Biden election. They're finding brace for a mess. Is this what you're talking about here?
Yeah, that one.
Let's read a little bit of this. It says they met virtually on Zoom 4 days over 2 weeks in June to hold simulations known in the military and intelligence community as war games. Maybe this is the people in dark shadows that Trump was talking about. Very interesting here. There were 67 players, many of them high-profile critics of President Donald Trump, including law professors, retired military officers, former senior U.S. officials, political strategists, and attorneys. Instead of mapping out a geopolitical shift, the group peered ahead to the November 3rd election, now less than 90 days away, and explored how the race between Trump and Joe Biden could turn into a post-election crisis. John Podesta, a former top aide to the President Barack Obama and President Bill Clinton, former chief of staff, played Biden. Two outspoken Republican critics of Trump, David Frum and Bill Kristol, portrayed the president. What happened through this? Did you read through this? It showed that Biden won, or it says after.
Um,
Go ahead.
but, I know Nick talked about this, but he mentioned that the Democratic-led House would try to fight it and whatnot, but the Senate and the executive branch would essentially say Trump's the president, and they're going to try like spark like a civil war or whatnot, or
Okay.
but that's like one of the other scenarios. I don't know, I feel like it's they're trying to set it up already. Like I'm surprised they're even being open about this,
It's
like in
going
the
to be
news and
crazy.
whatnot.
It's going to be
Yeah.
crazy. This is what I tell people all the time. You haven't seen nothing yet. You haven't seen nothing yet. Just wait. Just wait. It says it goes on. It says after gaming out various scenarios, the group said its conclusions were alarming. An election taking place amid a pandemic, a recession, and political polarization. The group found a substantial risk of legal battles and contested outcome, violent street clashes, and even a constitutional impasse. We assess with a high degree of likelihood that November's elections will be marked by a chaotic legal battle and Political Landscape, the Transition Integrity Project, which organizes the war games, said in a report last week. I wonder if this is exactly what this really sounds like what Trump was talking about in regards to the people in the dark shadows. Very interesting. Do you think that there's going to be like violent street clashes as the election plays out? I mean, how long do you think that they're going to take to determine the election? Think it'll be weeks? Do you think it'll be months?
I actually think it's gonna be a couple weeks.
Now, what'd you say about Trump? They said they're going to name Trump president. What do you mean by that?
So Biden would not concede, and they're gonna try to dispute the electors in like the battleground states, and then I think that's how it's gonna go, I believe.
Oh, I see. You're saying they're going to dispute the electors in the battleground states, like dispute their vote for President Trump, because the electors will vote for President Trump because the popular vote within that state went to President Trump, and they're going to dispute that? Okay, so maybe I have to read more into this. I actually didn't hear about this. I'm glad you brought this up. It's actually a pretty long article. Trump predicts election disaster. There's a couple of sections here. 22-page report revisiting the election of 1876. It's sort of drawing parallels between the election of 1876 and this. Very interesting stuff. I appreciate you bringing that up, man. Thank you for bringing up those stories. Is there anything else you wanted to add?
No, that is all. There's a couple callers in here, so I'd rather have a chance to speak.
Yeah, no worries.
I
appreciate it. Yeah, call again. Each of your calls have been fantastic, so we always welcome you to call back. Appreciate it, man.
Thank you.
Yeah, for those who don't know, there was I showed this clip about Trump talking about the people in dark shadows, and this sort of really reminds me of that. I don't know if this is what he was talking about here, but it really sounded like it as we were going through that USA Today article, or the USA Today affiliate. Yeah, it was actually USA Today. But this political article talks about how alleged Biden was controlled by people in dark shadows, which is super interesting, and I'm sure they're going to call him anti-Semitic at some point for saying this. But I'll play this clip one more time. I think it's interesting, and I don't know why this person didn't put this as full screen in it on his Twitter timeline. He definitely should have. But let's play this clip one more time. It's only 60 seconds.
Who do you think is pulling Biden's strings? Is it former Obama
people
officials?
That you've never heard of? People that are in the dark shadows, people that...
What does that mean? That sounds like conspiracy theory. Dark shadows.
No,
what is
people that you haven't heard of. They're people that are on the streets. They're people that are controlling the streets. We had somebody get on a plane from a certain city this weekend. And in the plane, it was almost completely loaded with thugs wearing these dark uniforms, black uniforms with gear and this and that. They're on a plane.
Where's this?
I'll tell you sometime, but it's under investigation right now. But they came from a certain city, and this person was coming to the Republican National Convention. And there were like 7 people on the plane like this person, and then a lot of people were on the plane to do big damage. They were coming
planning for Washington.
Yeah, this is all happening.
But the money is coming from somewhere.
Money is coming
how can it be
from
tracked?
some very stupid rich people that have no idea that if their thing ever succeeded, which it won't, they will be thrown to the wolves.
It's so interesting to me. So interesting to me. People who steal the bikes. I don't think he was talking about bike thieves there. I don't think he was talking about bike thieves when he talked about the dark people on the plane. If they have to steal a bike, they definitely can't afford a plane ticket. But anyway, yeah, I think that it's going to get really bad. I think it's going to get really bad leading up to the election. Like I said, they let the cat out of the bag. They opened Pandora's box. They're not going to be able to shove. They're not going to be able to shove it back into the box. It being mostly black criminals and Antifa back into the box now that they've released them. They're not just going to shut it off with the flick of a switch. It's going to get worse. And especially if Ruth Bader Ginsburg croaks leading up to the election. We're going to see probably, everyone's predicting, right? We're going to see Donald Trump initially win on election day, and then on the mail-in ballots, it's going to determine Joe Biden won, and there's going to be fights with electors, they're predicting, and they had this virtual war games all play out to to talk about what might happen. Just prepare. Just prepare yourself, guys, okay? Prepare with Vincent.com. Prepare yourself, but more importantly, make sure to have something to defend your home and property within your home and learn how to use it, because it is going to get bad. It's going to get bad before it gets worse. It's going to get worse before it gets better. My goal is to eventually become a powerhouse of truth. That is why it is imperative that you check the links in the description below and go to either Patreon and Subscribestar and support us for at least the cost of a cup of coffee a month. We already have writers writing for TheRedElephants.com, but we'd like to bring on more in the near future. By the way, at TheRedElephants.com, you can also find t-shirts, hats, and other products. Check the links in the description below. It helps us out tremendously. My goal is to eventually become a powerhouse of truth. That is why it is imperative that you check the links in the description below and go to either Patreon and Subscribestar and support us for at least the cost of a cup of coffee a month. We already have writers writing for TheRedElephants.com, but we'd like to bring on more in the near future. By the way, at TheRedElephants.com, you can also find t-shirts, hats, and other products. Check the links in the description below. It helps us out tremendously.